Hello there, and welcome back to the 100 Acre Wool Knitting Podcast. My name is Bella, and as always, I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California. And this is a podcast where I like to share with you and talk to you about everything that I have been making recently that is usually knitting related, and also sometimes some spinning, sewing, or fiber arts as well. Today I have a lot to go over. It's been way too long since I've been on here. Just a lot has been happening in my life. I recently got back from a trip visiting family, and jury duty happened and a lot of work things, so it's been too long, but I am so happy to be back on here talking with you. So today we have a lot to go over since it's been like a month. So we have knitting, whips and works in progress, new cast on, also some spinning and fiber acquisitions, and also yarn acquisitions from my trip, and also some sewing. Did I already say that? Anyways, we have a lot to go over. So grab a cup of something, get a whip to work on, and let's get into it. Welcome, hello if you are new around here, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer. Thanks for coming back. First, a couple of things to go over before we get into the works in progress for knitting. I wanted to say a couple things first before I forget. So right now we are having a test knit going on for my Fields of Gold design, my Fields of Gold knitting pattern. The test knit is going well. It did get pushed back 2 weeks. Some of the test knitters needed more time, and the pattern needed some more updates. So the new release date is now August 1st. So that is the date that it will be available for purchase through Ravelry. I have already put up the pattern page on Ravelry, so if you would like to go in there beforehand, I will link it down below. Also, in this video, in all of my videos, I always link everything that I talk about in the description below. But anyways, so if you would like to see the information regarding the Fields of Gold design, like how much yarn you will need or yarn substitutions, it does call for Nutiden yarn, but you can also use a different unspun yarn. There's so many unspun yarn types out there from all different regions of the world, so I'm sure you could get your hands on one of those if you would like. But yeah, there's all different options. So that will be linked down below, and yes, that pattern will be coming August 1st. And a quick note on my first shop update that happened a few weeks ago. I haven't been able to speak with you here since that happened, but yes, a few weeks ago I had my first shop update on Etsy, and I put out some stitch markers, some felted stitch markers that I had made, some cute little mini mushrooms. So I just wanted to say a couple of those are left, a few of those are left if you would like to pick one of those up. I do have the felted stitch marker as its own by itself, and then I also made a set if you would like some more stitch markers to go along with it. And that's a stitch marker / progress keeper. You can use it for both purposes because the clasp is a circle shape, so it will fit around your knitting needle, or you could use it as a progress keeper in your knitting. So yeah, just a little quick note about that. And with those updates, I think we can get into the knitting. So I think first I'll share with you a new project that I have going in progress, a new cast on and a new design. So I am very much feeling summer. It's hot here in California, and I felt like a summer garment. Felt like knitting a summer garment. So I have been making a summer top. Here's how it's looking. I am so in love with how it's turning out so far. I really wanted some ruffles. I have barely any ruffly things in my wardrobe, and ruffles are just so pretty and fun, and I think especially for summer they're so appropriate. So I'm designing a summer top. I'm thinking this one is going to be a tank top, but we will see how it progresses. You may be able to notice it's worked bottom up, so I cast on here at the bottom. The ruffles are a duplicate stitch. No, sorry. The ruffles are double knitted. It's double knitting, so there's kind of a seamless edge, seamless hem, if that makes sense. It looks like the knitting just starts. There's no like cast on line, if that makes sense. And then we have some little lace eyelets here. and then some more eyelets going up the center front. That will be the center front, so it will be like this. You can't really see the full thing if I try to wear it, but hopefully you get the idea. And then the back is just quite simple. I have my needles hanging out right now, so you can't really see the shape. But if you can tell, this garment is extremely drapey. It feels like a second skin as I've been trying it on to make sure, you know, the gauge and the size and everything is working out. As I've been trying it on, it literally feels like a second skin. It is so comfortable to wear, so breathable. So yes, this has just been such a fun little project to work on. I actually had cast this on, I think it's probably 2 weeks ago now. I cast this on right when I got to the airport before we were leaving for our trip. So it was kind of my airplane knitting, because I know I wanted something to work on, but I wanted something kind of mindless and easy to work on. I would definitely say that this pattern so far is working up to be quite mindless. You just kind of get in the rhythm of the knit stitch and it just goes and goes and goes. So it's knit in the round, obviously. You can probably see it's on circular needles. So yeah, it's just a very fun project to work on. Just a lot of knit stitches and some interesting details thrown in there to keep you enough engaged, if that makes sense. But yeah, so this was really great airplane knitting. The ruffle, I will say, though it is easy, mindless knitting, it does take a while because there's a lot of fabric in the ruffle. I was kind of surprised. I don't think I've ever knit ruffles before. This was my first time actually knitting a ruffle. And I was kind of surprised like how much fabric I was actually going to need to, when I made the decreases to go into the main portion of the fabric, the non-ruffled portion. I didn't realize how much fabric you actually needed to make the ruffle like ruffly. So that part does take a while, but again, it's easy, it's fun. And then once you get into the body, it's just zoom, it just goes, it flies by so quickly. Yeah, so having a lot of fun with this one. And yes, so a word on the yarn that I'm using, which I think is just making it so drapey and so fun. This is a new base I'm working with for my hand dyeing. So if you're not new around here, you may have seen that I've been playing with some natural dyeing recently. So this base in particular is a blend of alpaca and silk and linen. So it's 50% alpaca, 25% silk, and 25% linen. So I think it's a perfect summer yarn, summer base. It's also a light fingering, so it's, in this pattern at least, it's quite thin. It's not too thin, and I did knit it at a gauge that it will be totally appropriate to wear this top by itself. Like it's not too holey, if that makes sense. I can hold it up to show you. So the main fabric is not holey at all. You can't see my hand behind it really. So yeah, perfectly appropriate, but it feels really thin and breathable to wear. So I'm really loving this base and how it's working up. And yes, naturally dyed, like I said. Yeah, just having so much fun with it. And it's going by, it's flying by so quickly. So I will be making a pattern for this, as always. And I don't know when the testnet will be up, but follow me on Instagram if you would like, you know, the most current information on that, because I'm able to post on Instagram more often than I am on here. So if you would like to see more about this pattern before I post the next YouTube video, then yeah, follow me on Instagram for those details. Yes, because this one is working up very quickly and I can tell it's going to be able to be test knit quite soon. And one little tip that I had that I wanted to share with you all that may be helpful to any of your projects is about stitch markers. So I'm just using simple little, I think they're called light bulb stitch markers for this particular project. And I just wanted to point out a little tip that I always do on my projects is for the end of round marker, for my project right here, this is my end of round marker. For my end of round marker, I always make it either red or a different color than all of my other stitch markers. And it might seem silly or you know, pointless or whatever, but at least while I'm knitting, especially something that there's a lot of knit stitch and you can easily get confused where you are in one row or one round, I would really recommend doing a different color or a bold color for your end of round so that when you're knitting, you don't have to pick up your piece and like look at it and figure out where you are. You know that the bright one is the end of round, because that has come in handy for this project in particular, since there's 4 markers going on, and I don't know, I feel like I would have been easily confused where I was if I didn't have like a bright marker telling me this is the end, stop, if that makes sense. And I really love the color of the yarn that came out of this. It is a perfect champagne-y pink, I think. It's just the perfect little blush of pink. It actually also happens to be quite close to my skin tone, which is kind of funny. I'm hoping it won't look like I'm naked when I'm wearing it. Probably not, but it is quite close. But I think it's just the most wonderful, soft, like pastel pink, if that makes any sense. And the yarn usage so far, this is how much I have left. This is 100 gram skein, and again, it's like a light fingering, I would say. So this is how much I have left. I don't know how much this is, maybe 20 grams. So I feel like I'm probably going to need another skein to complete mine, but yeah, that'll be fine. So yeah, probably a 2 skein little summer project. And I also have made some progress on my Shifty Sweater that you may have seen. So, Shifty Sweater by Andrea Mowry, if you're not aware of the pattern. So, this is how it looks now. I have 1 arm done. This is such a fun pattern. It's so easy, so mindless. Well, not exactly mindless, but you get in the rhythm of the pattern, of the texture, of this knit texture, and it's just so much fun to work on. But yeah, so I have finished one of the arms, and to be honest, I love the texture and I love the pattern, but the way the colors worked up, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I am using Salty Dog. Okay, so this is all Spin Cycle yarns. If you're new around here and you haven't seen me talk about this before, this is all Spin Cycle yarns. So for the first color, for the first contrast color, I used Salty Dog, and then from here to here, I think, is Shades of Earth, and then from here to here is Nostalgia, the purple one, Nostalgia, and then from there to the cuff, or to the ribbing, is Salty Dog again. So I really loved the skeins next to each other when I was planning out this project, and I thought they would be really beautiful together and enough contrast, but maybe not too much. But now I'm not sure. I didn't think about Nostalgia being right next to Salty Dog, and also the way that Grumpy Birds, the background color, it's kind of just blending into Salty Dog, and I don't know, it kind of like disappears, if that makes sense, down here, and then here is like so much more contrasty. I don't know. Am I getting too like particular about this? Probably. I don't know. I have to wait and see how the other arm comes out. How the other sleeve, rather. I feel like I say arm all the time. I'll have to wait and see how the other sleeve comes out, because I'm not entirely certain at this point. I feel like the Salty Dog is too contrasty with the other colors. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm crazy about this and I just need to see how it turns out. But yeah, still, nonetheless, I'm not going to rip it out or anything. I will still love this, I know, and I will still wear it for sure. Yeah, it's just color play and kind of learning what colors I like together and what I maybe don't like together. I don't know, different types of contrast. But I will say, I did try it on and it is fitting quite well. There's a little portion towards the bottom of the yoke that it's getting a little puckery, which I will say, I do want to note, I am using the older version of this pattern. Andrea Mowry did recently make an update, and the puckeriness, I think, was an older issue. Maybe not even an issue, but something that some knitters were encountering, and I don't think that's there anymore. I think she has since improved the pattern that wouldn't happen. But I really wanted to knit the original. Call me crazy, but I just wanted to knit the original version of the pattern because I loved how her sample looked, and I just wanted whatever made that, if that makes sense. Anyways, so the puckeriness, I'm hoping will go away in the blocking, because I haven't blocked this whatsoever. I haven't done steam blocking or anything like that. So it's still very bouncy and smudgy. But yeah, I totally love this body portion here, which I was also thinking once I finished the arm and I was like not entirely sure about it, I was like, maybe I should just rip back and make it short sleeve, because it's really cute, just like the body portion and the little bit of sleeve right here. So I don't know. I don't think I want to do that either. I think I want the full sleeve, 3/4 length sleeve, the full deal, I think. But anyways, it's just been such a fun project to work on, and I do highly recommend it. I also think it would be really great to use your own handspun, which maybe I'll just make another one someday with my own handspun, because I have been getting quite into hand spinning. I just think that this would be perfect handspun garment. I mean, Spin Cycle was based off of handspun, so that's exactly the look that this is going for. Yeah, anyways, super fun project, highly recommend it. I have waffled on enough about this project, so I think we will get into, let's get into spinning next. So I have truly gotten obsessed and fallen in the deep end with spinning yarn. So to share a little story of something exciting that happened recently, in last video, in the last podcast that I posted on this channel, I did talk about how I was getting really into spinning and how I was going to be looking for a spinning wheel, because I have been using, for the past month or so, I have been using my local guild spinning wheel. I've been borrowing it from them, but I would need to take that back very soon. And a wonderful viewer of this podcast, Helen, she so kindly offered her spinning wheel, said that she's never used it, never is going to use it, and wanted to gift it to me, which I was just blown away. Oh my goodness, the kindness of people on this platform and in the knitting and spinning community, it just blows me away. And then also how we were going to get it to me was like serendipity. So Helen is from the East Coast, and I was going to the East Coast. I was going to Virginia to visit my family, and it just so happened that Helen was going to be right in the same area when I was going over there, so that we could do a little exchange, so I could pick up the spinning wheel from her. And it was just perfect timing, so we didn't have to send anything or ship anything across the country. I was thinking, like, wouldn't that be really expensive, like a whole spinning wheel? I know you can take them apart, but still it's a lot of weight, and still the wheel itself is, I think, like 2 feet wide. So anyways, it worked out so wonderfully, and thank you so much again, Helen. I have already been using it so much. You will see in a second some things that I've already spun on your wheel, and I'm just so thankful again. So yes, I have been spinning a lot recently. It's also Tour de Fleece now, so that's also perfect timing to get spinning. I think I've been spinning almost every day, if not every day. And when I do spin, I sit down for like a good 3 hours, so it's just been so much fun. So Helen's wheel that she gifted to me was an Ashford Traditional. So it's actually the same wheel that I had from the Spinning Guild, just a much newer version. I think the Spinning Guild one is probably a vintage, maybe 60s or 70s. I don't know, I'm not a spinning wheel expert. But the new one I think is like, I think she said like 10 years old. So it's in great running order. Getting a little technical, it's actually a double drive wheel, but it can also be converted to a single drive and Scotch tension, which is what I ended up doing. So anyways, let me get to some of the things that I've spun. So actually, it's been a while since we talked here, so I have a few things to show you that were spun on the Guild wheel and then on the new Ashford Traditional from Helen. So this skein, you may have seen on my Instagram page. This skein, I had showed you guys the singles last time, and this was some fiber that I had carted up with one of my friends, Nicole. This was some fiber also that she gifted me, and it's just a beautiful mixture of a bunch of different kinds of wools and silks and camel and alpaca and all these goodness. So this now is the finished 2-ply, and it is by no means perfect. There are some overspun spots and some little kinks that happened, but I tried to whack all of those out, and I made kind of a Nothing fancy, a little tag to just keep track of what it is and when I made it and what's in it. But yeah, so that was a 2-ply from a couple of weeks ago. No idea what I'm going to do with it, but it's really fun to see the transition of like when you first started and then as you get more experience, just keeping those skeins. Like I almost don't want to use it because just to be able to look back in the future, hopefully when I'm a better spinner, and see like, you know, how far you've come, I think is a cool idea. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I spun. I think that was my first finished 2-ply a couple of weeks ago. And then after that, I had plied this green fiber. So this was again from Nicole. The fiber is actually from Wonderland Dye Works, which I looked them up and it looks like they're not dyeing currently. She's not dyeing fiber currently, but yeah, beautiful green skein, light variegation, and just really pretty. So this one I think turned out to be, I mean, it's uneven, but maybe like a DK/sport weight. There's like some bits that look DK and some bits that look sport weight or even fingering. But again, this one was so much fun to do. And a 2-ply as well. So this one was like, I guess you could call my second skein, my second 2-ply. So that one's all finished and not sure what I'm going to do with it. Maybe nothing. Maybe it will just be there for sentimental reasons, for, you know, looking back on when I first started spinning. And then I had also purchased, because I've been getting so into spinning, so crazy obsessed. I shouldn't call it obsessed. I'm having a lot of fun with spinning. It's very enjoyable and very meditative for me. Brings me a lot of peace and kind of reset at the end of the day when I'm done working and I can just sit down and relax. And I almost start sleeping when I'm spinning, to be honest. I just get so like in the zone and it's very relaxing. But anyways, yeah, so I was looking online at some fiber, some hand-dyed fiber that I could pick up to spin some more, as one does. I really love the look of hand-dyed fiber and then using that to spin hand-spun yarn. That's like the most beautiful thing in my opinion. I love the look of handspun, and then especially when it like gradiates between different colors, and just the art that goes behind handspun, or rather hand-dyed fiber. It's just gorgeous. Like each one is a piece of art, and then you hand spin it, and then it's like making art with art with art. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm rambling. Anyways, I had purchased some fiber and I had showed it to my partner Austin and he fell in love with it, and I've decided I'm going to knit him something with this hand spun. So I have spun one of the braids. I picked up 2, so it would be 200 grams total that I would have of this fiber, and I've spun one of them so far. So here is how they turned out, and I'm just over the moon happy with these. So this is one 100-gram fiber braid. I had to split it up into 2 because I wasn't sure if the first one was going to fit on my bobbin. I'm still figuring out how much fiber I can fit on one bobbin, but I'm just so happy with how these turned out. So beautiful, I think. And it's pretty even. There's definitely some overspun spots. I'm still getting the hang of how much to spin it and how, how that works. But I would say it's relatively even. It's even enough for me at this point. I'm definitely happy to knit with these. So yeah, just love how these came out. So just for comparisons, you can kind of see the before and after. This is what the fiber braid looked like before. So obviously each one is unique, but this is the same colorway is what I mean. So this is the before, and then how it spun up. So you can just kind of see how the colors play together and blend. So I thought that's pretty cool to see it like before and after. Because sometimes, you'll see fiber online, but you're not sure how it will spin up necessarily. Yeah, But my next step is to knit this up and then see how the colors fade and blend at that point. So I'm just very excited for that. But yeah, so here's the next fiber braid that I need to spin and ply. This one is by Lauritsen Dyed Fibers. So I found this one, I found these on Etsy. So yeah, really love this fiber. It was really great to work with. It was a bit compacted right out of the braid, you might be able to tell. It's a bit compacted, but what I ended up doing was, instead of drafting it long ways, I kind of draft it side to side. So like I undid the braid and then I would pull out the fibers sideways instead of like the length of the fibers, if that makes sense. I think that definitely helped when I was going to spin it. Yeah, it definitely made it easier to draft at that point, because it was kind of hard to draft to begin with. And again, these are both 2-plies, so what I ended up doing to get the fiber the way that I wanted it, I split it horizontally. Does that make sense? I split the braid like here. Instead of long ways, instead of ripping the braid in half, I ripped it in half like here. Does that make any sense? I hope it makes sense. I just folded the braid in half and then ripped the top of it. Does that make sense? And then I spun one side on one bobbin, one side on the other, and then plied those. I hope I'm not getting too technical here. I probably am, even if it even matters to you, I don't know. Anyways, beautiful fiber. I would highly recommend checking this dyer out. Hopefully they'll have another shop update soon. I'm not sure if they have any fiber currently there. But yeah, I just really love. Oh, and the colorway, I should say. The colorway is Trailblaze, and this is Fine American Merino. So non-superwash and 19.5 microns. So it is quite soft. Oh, another thing about this, again, I'm still learning. Another thing about this is that I think it kind of feels like rope, to be honest. It's not, I feel like the softness went away a little bit because I made it quite spun. So I'm still working on it. Still gonna see how that progresses. But anyways, I'm still happy with how it came out. So yeah, that was some of the handspun that I've been working on. I'm also currently working on a braid of this beautiful blue teal BFL that I got on our trip, and I'm working on plying that right now, so I don't have it with me right this second to show you. It's still on my wheel, but I'll probably put a picture here if you're curious to see that. So that's working up lovely. BFL, I was surprised, it drafts so much easier. I was like, it's running away from me, if you've ever had that experience. But yeah, so a lot of spinning adventures, and it's been so much fun. And now I think we'll get into sewing. How many different crafts are we going to talk about today? So sewing, let me go get my sewing work in progress. Alright, so I think I have talked about on this channel a couple of times how I really have a goal to work towards a more homemade, handmade, sustainable wardrobe. So I am working towards that, not only with knitted garments, but also sewing as well. I don't think I'll ever get into leather working, but who knows. So I'll still be buying shoes. But as far as it goes for clothing, I do want to do my best to make all of my clothing myself. Since I do have a sewing machine and I do have some experience with sewing, much less experience sewing than with knitting, but I want to get better. I really wanted to make some pieces for my wardrobe. I think I've also mentioned on here before that I haven't purchased any sort of fast fashion or really any clothing at all for 3 years maybe now. I don't even remember when I started doing that, but I just kind of made a goal for myself that I wouldn't ever purchase clothing ever again, and if I wanted or needed new clothing, I would make it myself. So that's kind of where this is coming from. So yes, I have been wanting / needing some new skirts. I was going through my wardrobe and was quite surprised that I actually don't have that many skirts, and also I don't really have that many skirts that I would consider neutrals that would go with a lot of my wardrobe. So I had a goal for myself to create those. So I have 2 skirts in mind that I am working towards making. I have the fabric now for both, and I also have the design now for both. So the first one I have already gotten started on, and I was actually hoping to have this finished before our trip so that I could have worn it on our trip to Virginia a couple weeks ago, but that didn't end up happening. I give myself too short of timelines for goals sometimes, especially when I don't have that much experience in the thing. Like for this skirt, for example, I was trying to sew a skirt in a day, and I've never sewn a skirt in my life. Like, yes, I've sewn things, I've sewn other garments and things, but I don't know, I'm crazy. Anyways, so that didn't happen. I also ran out of thread because I didn't purchase enough thread, so I had to order more thread, and I'm still waiting on the thread to come in so that I can finish the skirt. But anyways, it's all good. Good things take time. That's what I'm really realizing with this is, like, of course I should know that. I know how long it takes to knit a garment. And I know sewing goes faster, but anyways, I'm rambling again. Okay, so what I am making. I had purchased some fabric from Merchant & Mills, which they are a UK-based England. I believe they're in England, South England. I purchased some fabric from them. They are a mill and haberdashery store. I really highly recommend them. Beautiful fabrics and patterns, garment patterns. They also have, like, I think they have findings for making your own bags and things as well, so like leather straps and buckles and things, if you would like to sew even like leather goods. Anyways, they have a great selection of fabrics, really beautiful high quality fabrics you can find there. So, and I think also as well a beautiful aesthetic, very like focused on, I think, fabrics that would go well with a lot of things. Like, they would be staples in your wardrobe, I think is what I'm trying to say. So I was browsing on there for some good fabrics for my skirts, and I found this one, which I just immediately fell in love with. So this is a tencel twill. So it's made 100% out of tencel, which is, it is a naturally derived fabric. I think it's made out of trees, if I'm not mistaken, but it does take some processing to make it into a fabric, so there is some man-made aspect to it, but it is biodegradable. I also fell in love with the color. I think the color is just, it's the perfect pink that doesn't look super pink. Like, it doesn't shout pink to you, but it still feels that warm pinky, if that makes sense. And I have just been going through and matching this up with garments that are already in my wardrobe and yarn that I have to, you know, that I'm planning on knitting with for things in my wardrobe. And it just matches, or it doesn't match everything. It goes with everything so well. So I think this is definitely going to be a staple in my wardrobe. Just the perfect color. And the pattern that I'm using is the Estuary Skirt by So Liberated. So they're an online sewing pattern company. So it's all digital patterns, which that was new for me as well. I had never made a digital pattern, never sewn from a digital pattern. So it was all new to me that you had to print out and cut out a bunch of 8.5 by 11s to then piece together the pattern. And that was a lot of work. If you've already knit from digital, or sorry, not knit, if you've already sewn from digital patterns, you'll probably know what I'm talking about, but I would recommend, if you're going to purchase a digital sewing pattern, get it printed on a large scale printer so that you make things easier for yourself, so you don't have to roll around on the floor like I was with a bunch of 8.5 by 11s taping them together. It costs like, I don't know, $8 more or something, and you can have it printed out. So anyways, I am sewing from that pattern right now, but I am making quite a few adjustments, which added to the complications for myself. That's what I always do. I just make things more complicated for myself. But anyways, So it's kind of going to be hard to show you because it just looks like a piece of fabric right now, but it is in the middle of being sewn. So it's going to have some pockets. I just have these clips on right for now. I was literally in the middle of sewing and then I was winding a new bobbin and my thread just completely ran out and I was like, I only had one spool of thread. Yeah, shows you how much I know about sewing. But so I have so far sewn the pockets to the skirt, to the main body of the skirt. They're going to be inset pockets, so not the version that's on the outside of the skirt. They have two versions that you can choose from in the pattern. But yeah, so here is one seam. I think it came out pretty well. And there was some ripping out that I had to do, some seam ripping, because the fabric wasn't laying right and it got all shifted. And sewing is a learning process. That's what I am realizing. And I've also been trying to do French seams on everything. Let's see if I can show you one of the French seams. I'm not sure. Well, anyways, I am sewing a skirt and I will update you when it looks more like a skirt, because at this point it's kind of hard to show you. But I will have put a picture here of the estuary skirt so you can kind of see what the general look is going to be. Another one of the adjustments that I'm making is that the waistband normally has gathering in the back. So it's normally an elasticated waistband in the back so that you have some play. But I am going to be doing mine completely flat. So it's all the way around, the waistband is just completely flat and interfaced. So that is one change that I'm doing. Another change is that I'm going to be adding a ruffle on the bottom hem. So originally it does have some ruffles towards the top of the skirt, like right below the waistband. It's gathered. That's what it is, gathered. It's gathered at the top of the skirt. But yeah, for the bottom, I'm going to be adding a ruffle as well before the hem. And then down the center front, there's also a placket of buttons, which I did purchase my buttons also from Merchant & Mills. They were these beautiful, they look almost like rusted, like really old buttons, but they're not rusted out. They're perfectly stable and not rusty. But just to show you how they look with the fabric. So hopefully you can see this little guy. I'll probably just insert a photo because it's quite small. Can you see that? Perhaps. I just thought it went so well with the color of this fabric, and I really love how it's not, I really love the uniqueness of the buttons. Yeah, Merchant & Mills, highly recommend. They have a beautiful selection of fabrics and notions and things. Not sponsored, I just really love their aesthetic. Yeah, so that's how the sewing project is going, and I will certainly update you all here when I have this finished and you can see the final garment. Alrighty, so last but not least for today, I have some acquisitions, so if you would like to see that, then stick around. If not, then thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you would like to see more from me. But yes, so some acquisitions. I had picked up some things on our trip, kind of building a little stash for myself of fiber that I could spin from, and then also there were some things that I had ordered that got here over our trip while we were gone. So quite a few things this time. So first I think we'll talk about some yarn acquisitions. Some of my favorite yarn shops in the country are based out of Northern Virginia, where we visited. So I just had to go and see what they had because they always have my favorite kinds of yarns. So picked up some things there. So first we had gone to Fiber Space, which is probably my favorite yarn shop ever. Fiber Space in Alexandria, Virginia. So the first thing I saw there were these two skeins of Manos de Uruguay. Yep. I love this dyer. I had never heard of them before visiting Fiber Space, but then once I had been there a couple times and I kept seeing this dyer pop up, and I'm always drawn to their colorways. They're just so beautiful. So these are some hand-dyed skeins. I believe it's lace weight Guys, there's like 900 grams. I mean, sorry, there's like 900 yards in these. Just beautiful. And let's see, what is the base? I think it's merino. So it's superwash merino lace weight. And it is so soft. The main reason, I would say, well, I love the colors. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love these colors. And I think they would be beautiful in some sort of a color work. Maybe together, maybe not. But what really drew me to these is the softness. Oh my goodness, these are so freaking soft. It kind of blew me away. I know that lace weights tend to be soft, but these especially. Oh my goodness. And it is superwash merino. But yeah, totally fell in love with these. So these had to come home with me. And then some mohair skeins that I picked up. So these were just beautiful pinks. I just thought they were so pretty. So I'm thinking perhaps making some like colorwork socks with these. I think they would just be so cozy and cute. And I thought that this one specifically, like how the color play is happening, I think that's going to be stripy. Do you think so? I think that's going to end up being stripy, like the colors. I know it's hand-dyed, but it just, I don't know, it looks different than other hand-dyed, I think. Like, you know how so this is another, what am I trying to say? Mohair that I picked up. And this one, you see how it's like blocks of color, like splotches. I don't know, I think this one is gonna end up working up differently. So I'm excited to see how that comes out. Those are, again, these two are also Manos de Uruguay is the dyer. And this one I picked up in Charlottesville, in a shop in Charlottesville. I think they were called U Fiber Goods, if I'm not mistaken. Really great yarn shop in Charlottesville. They also have a lot of sewing patterns and materials, beautiful fabrics and things as well. So, can't get away from the mohair. Hand-dyed mohair, so beautiful. And can you tell I like pink? Wow, I think I'm getting more drawn towards pink. I used to not be that huge of a pink fan, or I guess pinks and purples I'm just totally drawn towards. So that one's beautiful. This is Little Fox Exquisite Hand-Dyed Yarn. So cute. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Baby Surrey. This is Surrey Alpaca and Silk. This is not mohair. I get confused. So, very soft, very beautiful. This would probably be a shawl, but who knows? And then in Looped in DC, another yarn shop in Northern Virginia, I picked up this Mayak yarn, which I had never felt or seen Mayak in person before. And this one was just so soft and such a beautiful gray tone. I think it's a natural gray. So it has, I think it's 100% yak, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 100% baby yak. And this is also a lace weight. So I am a sucker for yak fiber. It's just so soft and lovely. Yeah, so I'm not sure what I'm going to make with this. I was thinking making socks, like just homeware socks that you wouldn't wear out because they would be so special. But I'm not sure anymore because this may be too special. But there is a Mayak knit along going on right now with the podcast Knit with Kim and Jonah here on YouTube. So they're having a Mayak knit along, but I think you can make anything, or you can knit with any yarn. But I think they're working with Mayak on it. So maybe I'll be casting this on sooner than later so that I can join that knit along. I think that would be so fun. Because, wow, Mayak is just, ooh, that is so soft. Can you imagine a whole sweater in this? That would be gorgeous. Highly recommend. And this base is, the colorway is Desert, and I'm not sure what the base is. It's their lace weight. Does that help? And it's 100% yak. So that was beautiful. Had to pick one of those up. Alrighty, and then for fiber, we have quite a bit of fiber. So again, this is kind of me getting myself set up for spinning, and I've already been going through fiber very quickly. It's taken me a day to get through 100 grams. So even this, which looks like a lot to me, I feel like I'm going to go through quite quickly actually. So all of this was purchased on on my trip or before I was away, and then it came while we were gone. So first, to start out, which is probably my favorite braid, is this one. So this one I had ordered online on Etsy, and I'm in love with the colors. I think it's so cool. So this one is by Crafty That Way, and it is Falkland and 4 ounces. The colorway is Paris of the Prairies, which I think is so cute. So I'm so excited about this one. And I loved it so much, I got 2 of them. So I have 200 grams of this one. So we'll knit something beautiful with that one, hopefully. Sorry about the crinkling. And then this is actually only 50 grams because I've already started spinning with this one. Let's see, where is the bobbin? This one I already showed you earlier. So here's the bobbin. So this is Neighborhood Fiber Co. And I think it's their, what is the base? Polworth. It's their Polworth base. So really lightly variegated, like beautiful lavender tone. I think this one is called Lauraville, is the colorway. So this is again going to be a 2-ply, and I'm putting together a little gift pack for Helen to say a little thank you. So this may be part of that once I finish it, but it's just such a beautiful color. So this is the rest of it. I still need to spin up this as a single. So that's what it looks like in fiber form. And maybe this demonstrates what I was saying a bit earlier better. So you can see how I made it a lot wider. The fiber is a lot wider than when it was in braid form. So I just pull it wide instead of long. That's how I draft it, is sideways, if that makes sense. And then some more Neighborhood Fiber Co. My partner really loved this color. Pardon the crinkling, sorry. A really beautiful golden tone. And this is their cobblestone roving. So this is BFL, 75% BFL, 25% silk. And the colorway is Oliver. So I'm very excited for that one. We'll see what I make with that. And I don't know, if you're a spinner, are you in the camp that if you spin, you have to knit with it? Or is spinning the enjoyment? I'm not sure. I think I'm definitely gonna knit with these. It's just when is the question. And then this one is also Neighborhood Fiber Co. So this one is, again, the Cobblestone Roving BFL in silk, and the colorway is Waverly, which after seeing these, I purchased the Neighborhood Fiber Co. I purchased those from Fiberspace. Which I had never known they actually have fiber upstairs. So if you ever go to the shop, you can go upstairs and they have fiber, like spinning fiber. So check that out if you're in the area. But yeah, I never knew that they had fiber. And once I had seen those, I actually went online and purchased some more so I could make a full sweater with just their cobblestone roving, because it's gorgeous. Like in person, if you see the striations of the silk, so beautiful. And then this was some, I've already shown this to you. That was just some fiber that I blended on the blending board. That was some fiber that Nicole gifted me. Yeah, so I'm excited to spin with those. And I had also ordered some fiber online. So first I had ordered some fiber with Nuteden's June update. Not only do they sell Nuteden yarn, but sometimes Caroline also makes some fiber for spinning. So I had never jumped on the opportunity to get some fiber before because I wasn't a spinner, but now that I am, and I can actually do something with the fiber, I picked up this colorway, which I was eyeing for so long. She had saved some, which I was so thankful for because it had originally sold out, but then there was some more left. So I'm just so in love with this one. And I don't remember the name of it. She had 3 fibers that were in the June update, and I don't remember the name of this one, but it's just beautiful pinks and purples and reds and grays, like dyed bits mixed with natural. Just so beautiful. And this isn't even all of it. This is like probably 100 grams. It's just huge. So very fluffy, very airy, and I'm so excited to spin with this. It feels very soft and absolutely like a pillow. I love it so much. And then there was some more beautiful carded fiber that came in the mail that I ordered from Crux Fibers, Bethany of Crux Fibers. She has a fiber and yarn company. Go check her out. I would highly recommend checking her out. I will link her shop down below. I think she has a local flock of sheep that lives near her that's cared for by a local shepherdess. And she had put up a shop update of, it was called Spin a Flock. So it's fleeces from a couple of the sheep that live near her, and she had carded up the fiber and made it into roving so that spinners could spin from that. And it's just so beautiful. So I picked up the Spin Torfall. So Torfall is the name of one of the sheep. I think he's a male if I'm not mistaken. But I loved the color of this and the crimp. She just had a photo of the crimp of the uncarded fiber, or of the uncarded fleece, I guess. That's what it would be in the form of. But oh my gosh, when I got it in the mail, it is just, this is the softest thing you have ever felt. Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. Just a wonderful cloud. Oh, I love it. So I had picked up 100 grams of the Torfall fleece, and I'm just so excited to start spinning with it. I was actually intending on making socks with this because I figured 100 grams, that'll make perfect hand-spun socks. 100 grams will be enough, hopefully. But now after receiving it in the mail and seeing how soft it is, it has to be a hat. I know it for sure. It's just so soft, and I know this won't hurt, or it won't irritate my forehead at all, and I think it'll just be so soft and fluffy, and this has to be a hat. So I'm definitely going to be spinning this up probably soon, we'll see. And I'm so excited to spin and knit with this. It's just going to be so great. So in the package with the Torfall spinning fiber, Bethany so kindly added some extra goodies. So she added some Rolags that I believe that she carded. Just really beautiful colors in these Rolags, and fun texture of different fibers. Hopefully you can see, hopefully there's not a glare. Sorry for the crinkle again. But yeah, I am so excited to spin with these. I think this is, let's see. So this is her low mileage wool. It is 50% Canadian wool and 50% mohair sari silk. So, oh, that's gonna be lovely. Oh, so that's what those are. So the little bits are sari silk. Beautiful. So this is 25 grams, so it'll be great for a little color work piece, I think. A little color work, pop of color, if you will. Maybe I'll include that in the hat that I make with the Torfall. So yeah, just really adorable, really beautiful. I think she still has some of these in her shop if you would like to pick one up. Yeah, that's gorgeous with the little flecks of different sari silk. And then she also included some more of her low mileage wool. Yeah, so these are 2 skeins of, let's see, this is BFL and Gotland, and it is a beautiful 2-ply. This is just, it feels so nice and it's so squidgy. Thank you so much, Bethany. These are so beautiful, and I can't wait to knit with these. I don't even have to spin it. It's already ready to go. Or maybe I'll use these with the Rolags. There's so many options. And that is everything for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for sticking around. If you did enjoy, please do like this video and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.